Hello friends, uh, welcome to all of you on such a grand platform of Drishti IAS. Today we are going to discuss the questions related to mains this year, civil service examination on Indian society. We had 5 questions, 3 from the salient features of Indian society, in which we have the topics like family, tribal community, and one that is related to religion, sect. There is another based on urbanization, so it's linked with impact of globalization as well. So we can put it anywhere, urbanization or impact of globalization on Indian society. And one is related to secularism. So let's start. In total 60 marker questions. So first question, which is based on family system. Explore and evaluate the impact of work from home on family relationships in 150 words that you have to write. Well, this is related to COVID-19 situation, and when we witnessed the first lockdown way back in March 2020. So the people who could work from home or who are related with the IT connectivity, digitalization, they were quite capable enough to work from home itself. They could do it, and yes, this culture developed for all such people. And so this phrase, that is work from home. Well, what exactly happened to the family structure, the functioning of family? There's something that is needed to be explored, and a few things we have come up with. One that is related to our relationships. How did it change the relations? So we'll discuss this. So first dimension of a relationship could be taken as joint conjugal role. How joint conjugal role got strengthened. Well, this term joint conjugal role is sufficient to explain a lot of things. Conjugal role, that is the role between husband and wife. And when it is taken a joint conjugal, there are two types of conjugal role, segregate and joint. But here we have to focus on joint conjugal role. Joint conjugal role means the role of husband and wife that was earlier divided separately. It was considered as husband's role, wife's role. But now, in due course of time, what we have seen, like in industrial societies, post-industrial societies, there is a change from segregate conjugal role to joint conjugal role. So joint conjugal role says that the role of husband and wife has become one. There is no segregation now. You cannot say this is a particular wife's role, this is a particular husband's role. So no role is husband's role, no role is wife's role. All roles, all social roles, socio-cultural roles are performed by or could be performed by both males and females. So in that way, people decided, I mean, it's not something which is new phenomena. It is already existing in post-industrial countries, in those societies. But since we are not still post-industrial, so we were in between the two, like neither completely segregate conjugal role nor completely joint conjugal role. We are somewhere in between the two. But what happened when people started working from home? In that situation, yes, so there was no support from external agencies like maid services, which were easily available to the people in urban areas. that too was restricted. No one can move anywhere. So even maids, they could not go to different houses for their services. So now the all these family activities, household activities were supposed to be divided between husband and wife. Wife would say, if you're sitting at home, you have extra time to come and participate in these activities. Even I'm also not habitual of doing all these activities. I was getting support from the maid services, which is not available right now. So you'll have to cooperate me. Now today's husbands, they are cooperative in nature. There is no doubt, because people, they are now educated. They understand everything. So of course, and they want to establish gender equality. That is something which is required, it's needed. So conceding this, husband, they started cooperating with wives, right? This is something which was earlier not possible, simply for the reason that husband was going outside to work. So household activities were performed, and most of the women in India, they are still non-working, not outgoing. So they were, with the help of some agencies, they were performing all these activities, but now it is performed by both. And it means that patriarchy, that was still dominated by males in the society, in Indian society, was breaking down. No? Yes, of course. It seems as if there is a gender equality. Both were performing the similar roles. They divided as per their comfort. They took up different roles, like who is going to clean the house, yes, who is going to wash utensils, who is going to cook, yes. So all these activities were divided, and that way very clearly patriarchy is broken. This is a very good sign, yes. So this is one such thing. So with one particular word, joint conjugal role. So simply the meaning of joint conjugal role means the conjugal role of husband and wife is now not divided. It is now inseparable. You cannot separate the two. It's inseparable. So this is first thing. This is the first major change, and it is, yes, attacking patriarchy. So patriarchy is broken. Yes, to some extent it is broken. Not completely, but to some extent it's broken. Yeah. Okay. Next term I'm going to take like two types of families in terms of relationship. We had, like earlier, traditionally we had a family that was known as consanguineous family. Consanguineous means where blood relatives were more important for the people, and affines, I mean marriage relatives, were least important. So he said that marriage relatives used to be in the center, and affines, blood relatives used to be the center, but marriage relatives in the periphery. Yes, least important. So they were, you can say, far away from their spouse. This was traditionally found. No doubt that the same family was known as a joint family, but it was known as consanguineous for the reason that relationship was very important, blood relationship, and least one was a final, that is marriage relation. Well, in due course of time, when changes happened, what happened that we started moving from this consanguineous to a final. I mean, now spouses have become important for each other. So today's family, that is nuclear family, where husband-wife relationship has become more important. So they are in the nucleus of the family, center of the family, and who has gone the periphery? Now blood relatives, they have gone in the periphery. Well, so it's a change. It, in this way, the family is evolving, fine, but when people started working from home, what happened? And apart from that, that when it is said that everyone should uh, sit inside, it's a kind of a partial holiday also for the people. So now people got opportunity to either go and meet their parents or invited the parents to come and live with them. So finally, 3 generations started living together. So at least for the period that is known as lockdown, uh, there was a reunion of the larger family network. They started living together. So we can say that there is a blend between consanguineous and a final family. Yes. So it's a mixture of consanguineous family F for family. Consanguineous means blood relatives based, where blood relatives are more important, plus a final family where marriage relatives are marriage relative based. They are most important here. So now this family, the family, like in lockdown, people got opportunity to stay together, to meet, to get reunited. So this type of family is emerging. तो ये कौन सी family है? Combination of the two. So consanguineous family where 3 generations they are living together, all relatives. Yes, blood relations they have become important. Marriage relatives are also important. They were important, so even today they are important. So what we can say in terms of structure, it's a joint family which is seen through consanguineous, and in terms of functioning, what we see. So in terms of functioning, it is acting as a nuclear family. In nuclear family, individual rights were very important. Still, those rights are not curbed. They are still important. Fine. So we can say it's a blend of the two. Got this point? Structurally, joint family. Functionally, nuclear family. Such a beautiful blend. That was possible only during lockdown, when people they started working from home. So this is another very important aspect, and in this way children they got the affinity of their grandparents, close proximity of their grandparents. They came to know about relations, the meaning of relations. Yes, so that is another good thing that happened. In terms of relationship, we further talk about how larger kinship network got strengthened. Larger kinship network. What is this? So larger kinship network, family also is a kinship network, but larger means your relatives, the people we call as relative, like your maternal relatives, your in-laws, your siblings in-laws. Yes, many of these people. So again, like in this life, this consumerism, where there is high level of individuality, people they started living in isolation. They started forgetting these relations, but they got opportunity to strengthen these relations. To strengthen, of course, it was not possible to go to your relatives because you had to confine to your family itself, to your house itself, but at least you can talk with them. Yes, chatting was possible, talking with the people was possible, and people had enough time for the same, so they started doing the same thing, right? So that is another very good thing that we could say here. That was something which we were lacking, and we started forgetting those things, right? Okay. The next thing we'll discuss that is related to values. Earlier, these values were transferred among the children by grandparents, particularly dadis. They were responsible. They were doing it. But today, there was no such person. Everyone is so busy. Parents are busy. Yes. And they hardly had any meaning of those values. They do not find those values are very important. So they were not giving much attention to the same. And this was very dangerous to this new generation. Yes. Nobody was there to tell them the reality, the meaning, the good possibilities of the values. But when in this lockdown, when parents got opportunity, when they got time, they realized, people realized the value of these values, family values, social values. These things were realized. They explored these things. Yes. The reality is that even I also realized it's a time when I should spend some valuable time with my family members, with my children. I should inculcate values in them. I should tell them the good and bad things in the society. Yes, that is another very important aspect. And like earlier, people used to be morally very, very strong, but because of increasing individualism, these things started diminishing, and people started focusing more on bright future that is related to the bright career, that is related to materialistic values, materialistic culture, but not moral culture. Morally, people, they started becoming weak. But now this work from home, lockdown, provided opportunity to parents to focus on the values, and in that way, like imbibing values in their children, right? So that is another important aspect. Next thing is parents' role. Parents' role. Earlier, it was seen only as a facilitator. Parents used to be facilitator, but in due course of time, when parents they became educated, and they they became rational, so they understood uh, their relation with the children, and rather than becoming just a facilitator like the traditional parents, they started becoming a guide, a mentor, a friend to their children, right? So it was provided, but this became an opportunity for the people. People explored this one to make this happen in a very proper manner. So the rule that is like a guide to their children, as a mentor to their children, as a friend to their children, like sharing various things with the children, motivating them to speak everything about their life, and accordingly to take decisions. Yes. So this is something, it was explored by the parents, though they were inclined towards the same, but they explored it to make it very, very positive. Yes. And that is another good thing that happened in this situation. Yes. Apart from this, we can add one more thing, that as far as decision making is concerned, Earlier, decision making in traditional family, that was very much centralized. One person deputed, who was known as head of the family, was actually making decision for the family as a whole. Later on, when people started moving in nuclear families, then it is assumed that it will be collective decision making, wherein the role of children was also considered. But in this situation, when everyone is sitting together, there is no crisis to time, so they went ahead for a collective decision making. Yes, so decision making is no more centralized, and it's not just to say that it should be collective. Yes, and it was again centralized even in nuclear family, but now it was collectively done. Everyone is sitting together, they were deciding what to do in this case. Yes, like even to purchase something, which brand product that we need to have with us, or otherwise any other decision making, like to even to elongate the strong relations with kinship members, in which manner and how to talk with them, to go for a video call, video conferencing, all those, that is decided and it was implemented. So it is collective, where the role of children that also counted, it was also considered very important. Okay, but it was not free from negativities, and the most negative thing related to the same was increase in conflict, which is known as, when it is seen at household level, that is known as domestic violence. Yes, domestic violence increased. Why? So one reason is people they could not, the earning was either lower down or it was stopped, so they were facing some monetary crisis situation, that is one, and on that ground, there was some level of violence. It will create some tension, or tension outlet, that is conflict. Another thing, it was related to the work that was divided. Man chauvinism, that has not gone completely. It was still working, it was still there. In some situations, male members, male counterpart denied, no, this is not my work, how can I do? Yes, but apart from that, they were still very, very demanding, and sitting at home means a lot of demands. One of my friend, he used to take 12 to 13 tea in a day. It means that on every 1 hour or 45 minutes, he was demanding for a cup of tea. Well, he was not going to the kitchen. He was demanding. He was not cooking. He was not making. Yes. What will, it will infuriate wife. If you're so much accustomed of tea or coffee, why don't you go and make it? So that brought a conflict. And there was a rise in domestic violence that was reported by different agencies worldwide. United Nations has shown that in a period between 27th of February and 31st of May 2020, worldwide, because in some parts by around 27th of February, in some parts of the world already lockdown situation was there. We have seen it in March, I think 24th March, but it was present in other parts of the countries, world. Well, so it is shown that not only in that period, in the complete 1 year of the pandemic, it has shown the total number of domestic violence as 243 million, 24.3 crores. And as far this period is concerned, 27th of February to 31st of March, so number of domestic violence in India, as is reported by National Commission for Women, rose to 2.5 times. Yes, it was 2.5 times more than the usual occurrence of the incident. Yes, that was another. Even young children, particularly girls, they were victimized, and major reason was the high use of mobile. So father, brothers, they were restricting, and that were like they were beating even daughter or sister, whatever is applicable. So they were beaten, and even the people of LGBTQI, they are not uh, separate from this one. They are also victimized at household level. In the family circle, they were also victimized. So this was the major negative aspect of the same. Yes, as far as family is concerned, we are talking about family. So that's why we have to discuss this whole the things related to like how we can explore and evaluate the impact of work from home on family relationships. Got it? Okay. So next question is, how is the growth of tier 2 cities related to the rise of a new middle class with an emphasis on the culture of consumption? Okay. Tier 2 cities. Its growth related to rise of a new middle class. Another key point. First key point, tier 2 cities, its growth. Second one is rise of a new middle class. That is the second key point. And third one is culture of consumption. So taking the key points, now you have to analyze this whole. How is the growth of tier 2 cities related to rise of a new middle class with an emphasis on the culture of consumption, right? So first of all, what is known as a tier 2 city? Though we do not have any particular fixed criteria on the basis of which we can really define tier 2 city or tier 1 city, but we can use some of the criteria. One is class based. Class based. In 2001 census, we had 6 classes related to cities. 6 classes. I mean, class 6, that is where it is related to population. So below 5,000 population. Class 5 means between 5,000 to 10,000. One less than 10,000. I mean 9999, 9,999. Then class 3 means from 10,000 to 19,999. I mean just less than 20,000. Class 4, that is between 20,000 to 50,000, one less. And class 2 means from 50,000 to 1 lakh, just less than 1. And class 1 above 1 lakh. That is another it was known as million city. Million city means where population is more than 10 lakhs. Fine. Metropolitan, when it is added with, when a million city is added with urban agglomeration, that is considered as a metropolitan, right? And so this is one criteria. There is another criteria that is based on house rent allowance that was given to the government employees or other employees, and this was highlighted in some pay commission, particularly in 6th pay commission it was highlighted. And accordingly, now in that 6th pay commission, it is said that HRA should be based on tier of, I mean, like which tier city that you stay, you live in. Accordingly, you get you deserve to get HRA. So HRA was not fixed for all employees. It was depending on the city in which you are dwelling, right? So in this way, it was 3 cities, X, Y, and Z. Now these X is known as tier 1, Y is known as tier 2, and Z is known as tier 3. There is a possibility that a tier 2 city becomes tier 1, even like a tier 3 city becomes tier 2. There is a possibility. Fine. Now, as far as this one is concerned, tier 2 city, this is actually like how it is growing. So, its growth is depending on various things like occupational diversification related with IT industries. Occupational diversification related with IT industries. So, a city where there was the possibility growth of occupational diversification due to various activities, and one such activity that became very famous, very important, very highlighted in the in particularly in 21st century, that is the growth of IT industries. So, such cities now they have become tier 2. So, once there is growth of such cities, there is a requirement of different types of facilities also that is supposed to be given to the people who are residing there. But who are the people residing in those cities? So, you find that there is one city already it is established. It is already established city, and where it is found by the people to create it a hub of IT industry. So now people with such investments, they went in those cities and they made investment, and now it was created that way. But it will attract people from different skills, because they are getting opportunity for employment. They will definitely reach there. So all such people, they created they were, though earlier they were belonging to middle class, but they created a new middle class. They became part of new middle class. Yes. So it is in this way that you have to show. So the people in these cities, they are new middle class. Now, how this new middle class is different from middle class? This new middle class is the one where we see different types of things important for these people, like they are qualified people. Qualified means their educational qualification is good, professional qualification, the one that they have, this is one thing. Yes, we can call it cultural capital, and yes, they are eligible to earn good salary, economic capital. Since this is related to IT industry, they are good in that. So they were using, I mean, like net savvy people, and in that way they are attached with multi social media. So they created a good social contact as well. Yes, social capital. And apart from that, they were getting rewards in different ways. So symbolic capital. So they are related with all these, and such people are known as new middle class. First thing. Yes. I mean, you have to be very specific while defining new middle class. Another aspect. So what I did here, I told you 4 types of capital. One is cultural capital. Second is economic capital. Third is social capital. And fourth one is symbolic capital. So attached with all these 4, people created new middle class. This is one. Another thing, another specific thing with these people. So rather than calling them class, it is considered that new middle class, they are actually much related to, much affiliated to lifestyles. They have particular specific lifestyle of their own, crazy for the same. Some of them, they're crazy for some particular sports. Yes, it could be anything. In India, maybe that you are crazy for cricket. Yes. Some people, they may be crazy for golf. Yes. And some others for badminton, tennis, कुछ भी हो सकता है. So this is one thing, and they crave for it. Another, which is related to the consumption pattern. That's very important. Consumption. It's not just about earning. कि पहले का जो middle class था, what is major difference between middle class, when previous middle class, traditional middle class, and today's this new middle class? तो जो previous middle class was focusing more on saving part. Whatever it was earning, it was focusing more on saving part. And today's middle class, this new middle class, is the one that is focusing more on consumption part. So in your question, culture of consumption, that's the way it is related. They are very good consumers. Yes. And lifestyle is related to consumption part itself. Yes. Because that this new middle class is, they are very good consumers. And this is something which is supported by, culture of consumption. Culture of consumption, right? So we see these people. Well, in this way, it is said that about these new middle class, another important criteria about new middle class is that they are lifestyle groupings. Rather than calling them as class, we should call them as lifestyle grouping. Lifestyle means the one which is related to your lifestyle. I mean, lifestyle, that is a reality of your consumption pattern. Reality means like you have money and you can purchase this thing. There is another way to say you have money but you do not bother to purchase that one. Though you can purchase, but you're not bothering to purchase that one. But lifestyle says that if you have money and if you purchase the same, that is a reality, and that's called lifestyle. So lifestyle is about the reality. जो भी हो, चाहे low level का हो, चाहे high level का हो. That's about the reality. So they are known as lifestyle groupings. और इनको अपने अपने तरीके से उन्होंने, they have created the groupings on the basis of, as I told you, like on the basis of their sports activities, on the basis of their consumption pattern. कि हमारे घर में interiors, whatever of interiors I'm going to have, whatever clothes that I'm going to wear, my children are wearing. And apart from that, they are even showing it the same. They show it off. So this culture of consumption is the one. It's not just culture of consumption. There's something which is known as conspicuous consumption. Yes, this is something which is known as conspicuous consumption. What is this? Conspicuous consumption? A consumption pattern which is for show of purpose. Consumption pattern which is just for show of purpose. That's known as conspicuous consumption. So they are, like I'm wearing this t-shirt, it's not just for sake of my comfort. Not just for, I mean, of course it is for my comfort, but not just for that. It is also for show off. ये देखो कि किस ब्रांड का मैंने पहना हुआ है. I keep an iPhone not just for the reason that it's very good mobile phone, but also because that when I keep it in my hand, people will look at the brand and they will say, oh, this man is having iPhone. Wow. Isn't it? Yes. So that is about the lifestyle groupings. So they have created things in this way. Now, how further it is related to this tier 2 city. So tier 2 city, I mean any tier with a tier 1, tier 2, less in tier 3, but in both tier 1 and tier 2, we talk about urbanism. तो इसको आपको urbanism से भी connect करना है. You have to connect it with the urbanism. Yes. So Now connect it with, let me change the ink. Urbanism means urban way of life. And what is important here? The first thing is social mobility, that is related to your status. Increase in social mobility. You can change your status where it is possible. It is possible in cities, and particularly in tier 1 and tier 2. So there is a possibility of change of your status in tier 2 city for the reason that it is related to this occupational diversification attached with IT industry, growth of IT industries. Okay. This is one. Second thing is cultural heterogeneity. So people of different cultures, different areas, they have come to this place, and it's not related to any kind of homogeneity, it's related to heterogeneity. तो एक और चीज था कि जो मिडिल क्लास था, ट्रेडिशनल मिडिल क्लास, दैट वाज टू सम एक्सटेंट होमोजेनियस, yes, but this new middle class is the one which is heterogeneous. ये heterogeneous है because of cultural heterogeneity, wherein I mean, like you have come from you're from South India, someone is from North India, some others from Northeast India, yes, some others from Central India. So people of different areas, they have come to one place. They already had their own culture, their own language, their own way of doing the things, their eating habits, everything was different. Yes, so different cultures, cultural heterogeneity, that is another. And other important things related with urbanism are impersonality and individualism. So these things, impersonality and individualism, keep them completely all aloof, separate from other people. Yes, I'm enjoying my life all separately. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with my small family. Yes, I do not bother who is my neighbor now. मुझे इससे कोई मतलब नहीं. And in fact, nobody cares for each other. Generally, people, they're moving in different like apartments. They are living in some societies, but still, the quality of life is the same, where they do not bother to maintain, to create and maintain the relationship with each other. On some particular occasions, they gather at one place, but that gathering is not sufficient for creation and maintenance of relations. Yes, that's not sufficient. So this is something which is related to urbanism, and this is quite suitable with this new middle class. इससे बिल्कुल match कर रहा है. So there is the growth of the new middle class. Yes, this new middle class is the one is highly attached with the market in a way that it is creating the market. It is creating demand in the market. They are innovative people, creative people. Yes, and because of their innovations, because of their creativities, they think differently, and in that way they demand differently. So they create a demand, and market is supplying that one. So new things are coming, and that is something which is used by other people as well. Not only these people they are using, other people they are also using the same thing. Yes, but they have become a determining factor of the market. They have very good relationship with the market. Yes. Now they are the one who have a particular theme of their own. So there is creation of cults. Many cults have emerged these days, and those cults are supported by these new middle class. No doubt the other people are also there, but these people have highly supported. This new middle class is the one that is very progressive. So they keep on bringing changes in different aspects of life, whether it is related to family structure, family functioning, marriage pattern, yes, kinship pattern, any type of relationship. So they are bringing many more changes, and that is something which is further accepted by other people. Yes, they are the one who have a different political agenda, and so there are changes in political scenario as well, right? They are the people who have created a culture. It's a blend of two things. I mean, since they are net savvy people, they are connected with what is happening in the world. scenario, they acknowledge those things, and in that way they're grooming their personality, they're grooming personality of their children. So not only that they are part of this culture to which they belong, but they have also become part of international culture, and that way a blend of the two, yes, cosmopolitan culture. So such people have become cosmopolitan, yes. So in that way we'll discuss the growth of tier 2 cities, later the rise of new middle class with an emphasis on culture of consumption. Yes. There are some negative aspects also. Negative aspects, as I told you, like they are not related with the people. This conspicuous consumption, most of the money that they are using in their lifestyle only. They are not looking forward for their future. That's the reason some of these people, they commit suicide whenever they face some challenges, some problems, economic problems. There is no support from anywhere, and they purchased so many things, they are paying EMIs, there is a huge burden, cannot tolerate the burden, so they commit suicide also. In some cases, it is also seen that before committing suicide, they have killed their children, then after the couple that they have gone for committing suicide. ये सब भी चीजें हो रही हैं. Divorce rate is increasing, that too is increasing, yes. So we can say that it is also responsible for domestic violence. I mean, when you become highly your personality changing that way, you get infuriated on some trivial issues also, that will bring rise to domestic violence as well, yes. So negative aspects also there, but that's why you have to show the correlation between the two, right? Okay. Next question is, given the diversities among tribal communities in India, in which specific context should they be considered as a single category, right? Given the diversities among tribal communities in India, this is one key point. In which specific context? So specific context, the one that we have to find out. Should they be considered as a single category? As a single category. So three key points, the one we have here. So first of all, we need to find out diversities. Yes. On what ground? Diversities among tribal. Diversities को कैसे देखें? So diversities like racial diversity, various racial groups like negritos, Nordic groups, Western brachycephalic. I mean, racial means on the basis of the physical traits, color of the eyes, hair texture, nose, color, skin color, yes, lips, इन सबको लेकर के no, we actually decide what is known as a race. So racially different people, no, Mongoloids, Mongolians in northeastern regions, the Mongoloids. So many of these racial groups as tribal communities are found in India. That's taken as racial diversity. Okay. Next one is cultural diversity. Culture means, I mean, you take it as different customs, traditions, ways of marriage, different ways of marriage that different tribal groups they had in India. Like some of them, they were having like marriage by capture, marriage by elopement, marriage by service, marriage by probation, yes, Gol Gadhedo, I mean, different types of marriage patterns have been seen among tribes. That is showing the diversity part. And yes, of course, custom traditions definitely differ from one to another. So it's about cultural. And yes, they used to have dormitories, youth dormitories. So different tribes, they used to have different youth dormitories, those which were used for two main purposes. One, those youth dormitories used to be a place where tribal council used to sit. I mean, elderly people, part of that tribal council, they used to sit to make decision making on some major concerns, some major issues. Okay, and another was wherein youths were invited, boys and girls, and values were inculcated in them by the elderly, population. I mean, like old age people. So that is cultural diversity. Linguistic. This is something which is found everywhere in the whole country. It's not just about these people, everywhere. Bhils, they were speaking Bhili, Santhals, they were speaking Santhali, Gondi, that was spoken by Gonds. So, I mean, that like each and every tribal population was speaking different language, yes, different dialects they were using. And religious diversity. Though broadly it was taken as totemism, I mean, worship of ancestors, and animism, worship of ghosts, witchcrafts, soul, worship of soul, broadly. But that differed from one community to another. If one is worshipping fish, another one that was worshipping buffalo, male buffalo, there was another that was worshipping female buffalo, there was another worshipping a snake, there was another worshipping any other animal or a tree or a plant. That's related to ancestral worship. So in that way we see diversity. So these are different forms of diversity broadly present in the country as a whole. Yes. So as far as this point is concerned, given the diversities among tribal communities in India, so these are the ways that we have to show diversity. Now, in which specific context? So we have to find out specific. अब specific कहाँ से लेकर आए? Yes. Well, on these grounds, what happened? Before going to that point, let's take this one. On these grounds, what happened? Right from the British time, the two policies which were highly pronounced, they were for these people, they were policy of isolation. I mean, keep them isolated. Don't disturb them. Don't go inside their community. Don't invite them in your community. Keep them completely all aloof, isolated. That's the policy of isolation. Yes. Why? Since they have a very distinct culture of their own, so for the preservation of the distinct culture, this is something which is needed. Yes. For preservation of their distinct culture. That was right from the big, I mean, like from the British period. And another one is policy of integration. Now, this one says that keeping them isolated is not a fair idea. They must be integrated with the mainstream, but that must be done very carefully and very properly. And for that, Jawaharlal Nehru, he propounded Panchsheel for the tribal communities in India. Yes, and accordingly, Government of India used this policy for their integration, so that they could become part of the mainstream. Yes, so that's where things happened, things were followed, but somehow what happened that they're not completely, assimilated, they're not completely accepted in the mainstream, and they could not accept completely the mainstream culture. Yes. तो ये प्रॉब्लम हुई, बट जो भी यहाँ पे था, whatever things that happened, some efforts, we definitely discuss about some efforts. They were directly made, and some others they were indirectly made. Directly made or indirectly made. Directly means efforts of government of India, efforts of Christian missionaries, and indirectly, like there's some certain things were going on, and in that process they came in contact with the mainstream, I mean non-tribal population, right? So that is the way, like we can take directly, indirectly, but somehow they came in contact. So not proper integration that happened, but still they came in contact. They came in contact with non-tribal. So when they came in contact with non-tribal, what happened? That just forget about this racial diversity, because that is something is immaterial. So you can easily find that there, even in the mainstream non-tribal communities, non-tribal population, you find variety of skin color. Means that there is different racial groupings here also, but we hardly mind, we hardly care about it. Yes. So that is something that has become immaterial, and what is important, like we have to look into these ones: cultural, linguistic, and religious. So overall, because of this whole, what happened that I mean, sorry, just take it like this whole effort, what happened, they came in contact with non-tribal population, and now there is a mix of, or mixing of, mainstream culture plus their own culture. There is mixing of the two, mixing of mainstream culture and their own culture. So when there is mixing, so what would happen? So whatever culture, the one that they have, and now they are mixed up with the mainstream culture. Now things started becoming common. So this is something that has created a common contexts, or specific context. That's what you can say. Common contexts that is specific in nature. So specific, why it is specific? I mean, because of this mixing lot. Common contexts. So they seem to be one group now. It seems as if they are one group now. So what name should they be given? अब क्या कह रहा है कि should they be considered as a single category? Yes. So already, like some efforts which were made earlier, like British government policy, that was policy of integration, created a lot of problems with these people, and due to which there has been many revolts, many tribal revolts. Santhal revolt, Bhil revolt, they become very, very famous. Yes, and thousands of people were killed in the same. So British government had to realize the same, and finally in the year 1874 a major enactment was done, whereby some areas were declared as scheduled areas and some other areas were declared as semi-scheduled areas. So the term scheduled we got from there only. By the Act of 1935, they were considered as one category, and they were scheduled. So now they are known as, since they were tribal people, so now they are known as scheduled tribe. I mean, like people they used to call differently by different names. They were known as Janajati, they were known as Adivasi, yes, Vanvasi, different names were given to these people. So now one name, that tribal, I mean in English, one name tribe, Janjati, and they are considered as scheduled now, so they are known as scheduled tribes. So the thing is that in which specific contexts should they be considered as a single category? Yes, in which contexts, specific context. So in all these specific contexts, in the context of a common issue which is related to their, I mean, culture, their own culture and the mainstream culture, when they came in contact with the same. Linguistic, they adopted language of other culture, and in some cases what happened, what happened, that in 1961 in India, in total there were 1100 total languages, some scripted, some non-scripted, but total 1100 languages. But today we have only 880. What about 20%? 220. What happened to that? Yes, they got depleted. Why? Simply for the reason that when people came in contact with the mainstream, main culture, they adopted that main culture's language and they started forgetting their own, since they had no script of their language. So hardly there are people available to use the same language, to speak the same language, and those languages died. Khatam ho gayi wo language. So that has become now specific context. Thus they are using same language. Yes, but otherwise in some other cases there is a blend of the two. There is the mix of the two, the mainstream culture and their own culture. Yes. So these are different contexts. It means that now they are to some extent, not largely, but to some extent they are eligible and ready to accept the different aspects of growth, development, and so these things are going on. So the term which is given to them, scheduled caste, is justified. It is justified, right? So in the context of all these, is now justified. Yes. Well, but it does not mean that this is the only name which is given. In the process, like when the efforts were made, when the efforts were made, whether directly or indirectly, by the government of India, by Christian missionaries or any such, and indirectly, but still there were a few tribal communities which were completely aloof from these. Yes, and they remain all isolated. They had no contact with the mainstream. कुछ था ही नहीं का, mainstream के साथ कोई contact था ही नहीं. Yes, and they were the people who remained underdeveloped, like a primitive people. So initially they were known as primitive tribes, primitive tribal groups, PTG. Yes, later on in the year 2006, Government of India, while considering that it is very important, because generally people, normally people, common people, they are not in a position to distinguish them, like who is a primitive tribe and who is a tribe. It seems as if for people, for common people, the two became synonymous things, but they are supposed to be distinguished. Like if you take the example from Andaman Island, you find some such tribes: Jarwa, Tompane, Sentinelese, Onges, Great Andamani. All these are primitive tribes. Primitive tribes means those whose economy is pre-agricultural. That is one. Number two, that their population either is stagnant or going down. Negatively, it is a negative growth of population. Either it is stagnant or negative growth. And thirdly, that they are completely illiterate. So such people were known as primitive tribes, but in 2006, Government of India gave them one specific name, that is PVTG. Just for sake of highlighting this and making sure that they are different from the tribal group, PVTG, particularly vulnerable tribal group. So that's the only another category available, and India 75 such primitive tribes are identified. That's the maximum. I mean, there is no 76th. So 75 such groups are identified and they come under PVTG. But except them, other tribal groups, they are known as scheduled tribe, and it is justified with this specific context on that we have to show. So this is that you have to analyze and you have to show it. Fine. Okay. Well, next one is analyze the salience of sect in Indian society vis-a-vis caste, region, and religion. Well, you know, this is from the topic salient features of Indian society. So when you try to find out different salient features, so one salient feature, of course, is religion, and one of the aspect of religion is sect. I mean, you can take a sect, another one is cult. Yes. So we have to discuss salience of sect. Sect in Indian society vis-a-vis caste, region, and religion. So let's see who is known as a sect, how sects emerge in India, who are they. So sect is a religious organization which is created by opposing the main or established religion in that region, created by opposing the main or established religion in that region. That's known as sect. There was a time, of course, to oppose the same, a very strong leadership is needed. So for this, we require, as far the leadership is concerned, simple leadership cannot work here. Leadership should be very, very strong, and in fact, it should be charismatic. Very strong charismatic, not simple, very strong charismatic leader is needed. Then only there is a possibility of opposing the same, and then only there is a possibility of the people to accept it. They also require membership. Yes. Now, as far as membership is concerned, who will become the member? Sorry, who will become the member of the same? Membership. Membership. So this is something which is we can examine the same, like if it is related to class. So since class was not existing earlier, like we can take some examples. Buddhism once was a sect because it came against Hinduism. Jainism was a sect against Hinduism to some extent. Sikhism is a sect. Sikhism, in fact, means it was initially it was a sect because it came against both Hinduism as well as Islam, right? Then we have the Shaivites, Vaishnavites as sects against Hinduism. Lingayat, a sect against Hinduism. In Europe, Protestants, they were known as Protestants simply for the reason that they protested the main religion, church, Christianity. Yes, that was a sect. So that's where we can show examples. They are the examples of sects. Now, who will be the member of the same? Since in India, it is said that members generally they come from lower class, neither from upper class nor from middle class. Upper class people, they are the one who are highly attached with the main religion, so they will never become the member of the same. Middle class people generally they are very satisfied people, they will not come. So in India, we can examine the same on the basis of caste. Yes. So upper caste people, upper caste. Buddhism, when it went against Hinduism, the major reason was caste system itself, caste system, and particularly Brahmanism. So will it get support from the Brahmins? No way. That's the reason Buddhism could not become successful in India, simply for the reason. Jainism, that also to some extent opposed it. And as far as success is concerned, you just find the number of the people. Jainism, I mean the number of the people in this religion, it's so low, it shows about its acceptance. Yes. So it means that they did not get the support of upper caste people, and of course even middle class people, caste, middle caste or medium caste, they did not give their support. So obviously they got support from lower caste. So how it is related to caste, that's we have to show that it was lower caste people, yes, who gave the support to the same. They were the only who could give the support. Generally it happens, the whole world it happens in the same way. Since in Europe it was class system, not caste system. So what we have to, while examining, you have to go in this like upper class, middle class. So it did not get support from upper class and middle class in Europe. It got support from lower class people only. Fine. So that's way we have to see. So all these they got the support from lower caste mostly. Later on, what exactly happens that later on, sect is one such that does not have a long life. It is said that sects are short-lived organizations. Sects are short-lived organizations. They will die either they will die, or otherwise they move in, they will take another shape. So generally what happened to sects, they took another shape, means they took the shape of a main religion. That's the reason Buddhism became a religion, Jainism became a religion, Sikhism became a religion, all Protestants, they became religion, I mean like church, they created their own church. And of course Vaishnavites, Shaivites, Virashaiva, Lingayat, they became not only sect, they were the sect, but they became religion. And that's the reason today they are demanding the status of Lingayat, they are demanding the status of minority religion. They do not attach themselves with Hinduism, though most of the things are very close to Hinduism, because they also worship Shiva. But they say that it's not just about worship of Shiva, but also about one cult in that region, one particular leader in that region, and he is also worshipped. So it's different from the worship of Shiva only. The way it is worshipped by Hindus is different from that, and in that way they claim that they have a separate religion and they must get a minority status, which is so far it is not given. Yes. So it became a matter of a region. It's a regional matter as well. To this point, how it is related to region, a particular region, how it is related. So that is a matter of particular region. When we take the example of Shaivites, Vaishnavites, we take the example of Lingayat, all these became a matter of one particular region. So why it is a matter of region? So when it is a matter of Lingayat, और जो बहुत dominantly they are forcing, they are putting force to get the status of minority. Yes, they say that it's not just about worship of Shiva, but also worship of a cult, a religious leader they had in that particular region. So it's a mixture of the two, and so it is different from Hinduism. So it's a regional matter. Yes. Apart from this, sects, they have agenda in their religious matters. They have the agenda that is decided on the basis of the region, the problems of that particular region. So in that way it is decided. If we take it worldwide, so when there has been a creation of creation of Buddhism, Jainism, or even Sikhism, it was a regional matter because somehow they attacked on caste system, right? But when we take the same in Europe, what we find? There was no caste system as such in those areas. So it was a separate issue. It was related to religion, it was related to corruption in the church, a different lifestyle that churchmen, clergy, they started living. So they attacked on those issues. So all these things are regional issues. Yes. So accordingly, we have to attach the same with the region. And with religion, of course, it is related because it is on that way we have to define the same. Yes. It is different from a mainstream or main religion, established religion, in a way that in a main religion you are born. But in this religion, this is also a religious organization. This is one such organization where membership is there. Membership is there, and membership is granted. It's taken by the people. So willfully, consciously, you take the membership of a sect. And that's the reason membership of a sect is not given to a young child. Children, they are not granted membership for two reasons. Because it is willfully decided, and they are not in a particular age where it could be decided willfully. Once they become major, they will decide. So it's better to wait for that age and let them decide. This is one. Second issue, that since it is related to leadership, charismatic leadership is also one such who has a particular, a life. जो लाइफ होती है लोगों की, they have a life, and till they are all alive, they maintain their charisma. This charisma cannot be transferred to any person by them, so that they die, they lose the charisma, and so there is a possibility of death of the sect. So what will happen? Like, what if when a child is given, suppose a child is given a membership, and the child becomes a major, by that time the leader is dead. No one is there to convince that child, and child may differ, will say that no, I'm not going to follow this one. So for all these reasons, it is decided that children should not be given the membership. Let's wait for the time when they become major and let them decide it. Fine. So that is related to religion. So in all these ways that we have to show the relationship, and in that we have to show what exactly is a sect, how it works. No doubt that there's something which is related to some problems in the society, social evils in the society. It may be any particular regional issue, regional problem. It may be related to caste-based issue, caste-based problem. It may be related to class-based issue, class-based problem. It may be related to any ethnic issue, any ethnic problem. Fine. So that's why we have to compile, we have to show. So it means that sects are generated to provide a solution to the people on religious ground. Clear? Yes. And next topic are tolerance. These are all keywords: tolerance, assimilation, and pluralism. The key elements in making of an Indian form of secularism. You know that Indian form of secularism is different from European form of secularism. Okay, like isko mein, let me take it, put it aside. It's something like Indian type of secularism and European type of secularism. Indian type is known as India-centric secularism. And European type is known as state-centric secularism. India-centric secularism, and this one is state-centric secularism. Well, in this, when it was created, no doubt that this word secularism came from Europe only, and it is like when Renaissance Enlightenment phase, during that time, this was pronounced, and it is found that, and it is advocated that before this, there was a kind of fundamentalism present in Europe. Fundamentalism means that the whole system was dictated by, regulated by, controlled by religion, means church. On what way? So on the basis of the words written in the text, religious text, and whatever is written in that text is considered as word of God. And since each and every word is word of God, they are not, there is no possibility to change them. Word of God, God is all supreme, all knowledgeable, having the knowledge of the future, like what is going to happen after million years. God knows, everything God knows. So God, whatever is presented by God is not likely to be changed by anyone. Yes, that was the way, like it was decided, it was done, and so the system was working, and religion was supreme, religion was deciding everything. Even like when it is said that, it is written that, the text, it is written that sun moves around the earth. So what they say, what they want to say, no one can counter it, no one can oppose it. But when a scientist, an emerging scientist, on the basis of his observations, scientific observations, Copernicus, when he tried to oppose, what he found, it is not sun that is moving around this earth, it is in fact earth that is moving around the sun, and he was given capital punishment. How dare you, how can you say so? तुम्हारी हिम्मत कैसे हुई ऐसा इसका उल्टा बोलने की? That was situation, but people started advocating against it, and they said, yes, nothing is absolute, whatever is written is not absolute, and we can bring any change. Science has its own domain, religion has its own domain, and the two must be kept separate. And that's the reason finally what happened, that church religion was made an autonomous institution, and while doing so, other institutions were given autonomy, and the two got separate. I mean, church state got separation from the church, and that is known as state-centric secularism. Now it is said that state does not have any religion of its own, state is neutral to any religion. Yes, that is state-centric. India-centric, to India में था कुछ था ही, it was, I mean, no particular reason that was dictating the whole universe, I mean, the whole country as such. In fact, it was a pluralist society. Pluralist means the presence of coexistence of multiple religions. So this secularism is the one that is supported by a pluralist society. Pluralist society. Yes, pluralist society. I mean, mix. It's a It's a combination of multiple religions. Yes, of course, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, Jainism, Parsis, Zoroastrians, multiple. So on that basis, we cannot take on the same model. We are different. And this one, in the making of an Indian form of secularism, we had to move on to this a pluralist society. So we have one, pluralism. Pluralism means the presence of or coexistence of multiple religions. That's what we had. But this too is not possible without tolerance and assimilation. Tolerance and assimilation. So how these two are related? What is meaning of assimilation? What is meaning of tolerance? To understand it, we have to go back in Hinduism, how actually it emerged. What was the way? Like emergence means evolve. How it got evolved, not emerged, got evolved. So to understand it, when we take Hinduism, this is a polytheistic. This is polytheistic. तो ये polytheism कैसे हुआ? Why it is polytheistic? To understand, we have to look into two types of traditions. One is known as Sanskritic tradition, and another one is popular tradition. Sanskritic tradition and popular tradition. Well, in this Sanskritic tradition, what we see, this is something which is related to great tradition. What is great tradition? Great tradition means a tradition where an epic was written. Yes. Or you can say, a major event happened, or otherwise you can say that it's like urban setup where an epic was written. So there's something is related to epic. It's related to written. I mean epic which is written. So it's related to epic. Suppose this one is related to little tradition. This is something which is related to village. It is said that little tradition means where traditions prevail. Remember, little tradition is defined as where traditions prevail. और कहाँ prevail करता है? तो villages में. So it is something which is related to villages. Well, in due course of time, what happened that the two came in contact with each other. I mean, with each other means the epics. Now they're being narrated. Stories were told to the people where at some particular place some religious confluence is there, and one preacher has gone, a main preacher has gone there, is preaching, is narrating story of different people like Ram, Krishna, or otherwise other stories related to Ramayana, Mahabharata. Fine. So people came in contact with the same. Similarly, I mean, just not just about Ramayana and Mahabharata, you can go back like some other epics, some Vedas, wherein there is mention of some gods and goddesses. Already, little tradition villages, they were supported with some religion that too was based on totemism, worship of ancestors. I mean, worshipping some particular snakes, some particular animals, snakes, birds, trees, plants, all these. इन सबको वर्शिप कर रहे थे. Yes, they were worshipping these ones. Well, when they came in contact to the great tradition through such activities, they came to know that there was something like in here you see how a snake is worshipped. Snake worship. And here what you find? Skand. Skand. worship. Who's Skand? Skand is a lot of snakes. He was eldest son of Lord Shiva. Yes, also known as Skand. Skand means lot of snakes, god of snakes. So on the basis of homogeneity, yes, ये जो हो रहा है ना दोनों के बीच में, तो एक homogeneity, there is creation of homogeneity. Homogeneity is being created. And on the basis of this homogeneity, what is going to happen? That not only that they are worshipping or they will continue worshipping snakes, but they will add Skand worship as well. Similarly, earlier they were worshipping a woman warrior in any particular village or in a group of villages, a woman warrior. She was worshipped, and they came to know through these epics. They came to know about Durga, Kali worship. So what happened that on the basis of homogeneity, they added Durga and Kali here. So overall, what exactly is going to happen? That there is the acceptance of many such gods and goddesses, and now these the religion here in these villages, and now they are attached with each other. So there is give and take, among them as well. So this religion is going to become polytheistic. Yes. So this is one that it became polytheistic. But what exactly is told here? क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पर? So is it possible ये जो coexistence हो रहा है? Is it possible without tolerance? In fact, we got the idea about tolerance here only. And since there is give and take, it is equivalent to assimilation. It is more of acculturation, in fact. A better term is acculturation, but this word is given here, assimilation, so you have to write the same. So there is give and take possible. So this assimilation is related to give and take. And this one is related to a kind of, acceptance of external elements. External elements. So that is something which is seen here. So that's the reason the religion which is coming up is known as all inclusive, receptive. There is acceptance, receptive हो गया ये, tolerance आ गया यहाँ पर, yes, coexistence आ गया यहाँ पर. So when we talk about this pluralist society, this is related to coexistence. Yes, without that it was not possible. So we got the idea of tolerance, coexistence. Yes, give and take तो चल ही रहा था. So these are the terms: tolerance, assimilation, pluralism, and in that way we created a kind of secularism here in India, that is Indian type of secularism, and it is based on Sarva Dharma Samabhav. Since we are pluralist, we cannot talk about of any particular religion. So we advocated Sarva Dharma Samabhav, right? So this pluralist society, that is related to Sarva Dharma Samabhav. Give equal respect to all religions. Samabhav is that. So in that way we have different type of secularism in India. Of course, it is completely different from the European pattern. And this region, it is said that the major tenets of secularism, they are tolerance, flexibility, coexistence, rationality. These tenets, for these tenets, we did not require to make any extra effort. Yes, these are inbuilt in our religion. And so when we went ahead for secularism, already we were secular. जब ये सब कुछ था ही हमारे साथ, और सेकुलरिज्म का ये टेनेट है. सो ऑलरेडी दीज थिंग्स वर देयर विथ आवर सेकुलरिज्म एंड समथिंग इज नॉट any new thing for us, so no extra effort was needed, right? One more thing what you have to add here, that here we have just discussed about Hinduism, but when we came in contact with other religions like Islam, Christianity, yes, even Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, yes, so what happened that we have shown the same kind of tolerance, and because of this give and take assimilation, they also accepted the one. They changed their mentality. If they had something different, they changed their mindset. They accepted, give and take was there, assimilation was there, and they also became tolerant enough to have a secular system in India. So before secularism was educated, India became a secular state, and accordingly we accepted. Finally, when we had to accept India as a secular state, so we accepted this secularism, which is different from European pattern, and this is something which led to Sarvadharm Samabhav. So these are the questions for this year. Wish you all the best. Yes, I hope this will help you greatly to write a better answer, and when next time you're going for your answer writing, to some extent it will help you, or to great whatever. So definitely, like if you apply such ideas, you will be a good writer, and you deserve to get good marks. All the best to all of you, to all future IAS civil servants of India. God bless you all.